What I've got here is Milescraft's DrillMate. We've got two different versions. The 1318, which is basically set up for you to put on your battery or your power drill. You can put it onto the hex here and drive the chuck. Or the 1368, this actually doesn't have a chuck at all. It's got a 43mm collar, which you can set up with a suitable drill. So this old Black & Decker drill I've got here, if I undo the handle, this here is a standard 43mm diameter. So you'll find that a lot of drills and a lot of spindles, but check that you've got that style before you go ahead and buy this. The idea is we can undo the two screws in here and we can fix that in and then use this basically as a pillar drill. For the 1318, we're going to use either a battery drill or a power drill, and we want something which has either got a 3/8 of an inch or a 1/2 inch chuck on it. The chuck actually on the DrillMate is a 3/8 or 10mm capacity chuck, either for round or you could use hex bits in there as well. So just to mount him up on here, we're going to put him over the top, turn him on and just get him so he's snugging down. And then to put a drill bit in there, let's just put him up inside the chuck and you can snug him down with the chuck key. The chuck key then, when you've finished using it, can just pop into one of the grommets there just to hold it in place for you. The two DrillMates are exactly the same construction apart from the ones that got the chuck and the ones that got the 43mm collar. All the components are exactly the same. When the DrillMate comes in the box, majority of it is pre-assembled. So we've got a pair of good steel columns. The head is already attached to this. There's nylon bushes inside the head. The chuck and the chuck assembly is all pre-assembled. We've got a pair of bearings, one at the top, one on the bottom for really good smooth location running. All you need to do is mount it up onto the base and put the handle on. So to mount it up onto the base, there's a pair of screws to the bottom which basically you can loosen or tighten up by turning around these two collars, and you can undo the handle, which can come off also for some of the uses we're going to use it for. The other components that we do have in here is there's a physical stop, so we can set him up for any depth of drilling we're trying to do. There's a spring, so it's just going to help bring it back up when you've finished using it. The DrillMate comes set at 90 degrees, but you can undo the two top red nuts and we can bring him over to either 75, 60 or down to 45 degrees. So we can either use it at any of the preset angles, or we've got an angle cube, set him to 0 on your bench, put him on the column, and we can bring this over to any angle we're looking for locking it off. This will be really useful for things like Windsor chairs or any of those special angles, those kind of splays in legs, which is very difficult to do purely by eye or by hand. To drill a particular depth into a block of wood, we could use something like an iGaging setup block. If I put my bit of timber, rest him on here, and bring my drill down so it's just referencing against the timber, bring the stop in, we can drag him up and tighten him off, take the block out, and now we have that depth of drill that we're cutting into our timber. One major advantage over something like the DrillMate than a pillar drill is that you can use this for drilling in the centre of the panel. When you're using a pillar drill, you're always restricted centre point of the drill to where the actual column of the pillar drill is. So this is really quite good. So easy for drilling into the centre of these panels. If you want to near the edge of the panel, that's a bit more tricky. So just bring in a scrap bit of material, the same thickness, and then this will sit nice and steady on there. Not only does it then sit nice and steady, but we've also got on the bottom of these little grippy feet, which are really good just to make it non-slip on the surface you're working on. The handle's really good to help you steadying, or if you want to, you can undo the handle and remove him completely. If you remove him, this then allows you to use the V feature in the bottom of the DrillMate, and this is really useful if you're trying to drill pipe. You'll find the V will sit on top of the curve and you can be drilling dead central. So utilising the V shape on the base, we can put it on top of the pipe and see if we can drill some holes. Drilling one hole will be okay. If you try and come along and drill another hole in exactly the right position, it can be quite tricky to hold this upright. If you use the angle cube again, set him to 0, put him on the bar, drill your first hole, and then come along and make sure at the same angle, then we'll know that we are getting them exactly lined up. Or you could have it, you want to offset them by 5 degrees of centre for each hole that you are drilling. Whatever you want, put the angle cube on there and you can set it up so you get what you're trying to achieve. So we can hold him nice and steady on the pipe and just drill through wherever you need to. If I want to drill some holes in this smaller bit of timber, we can either just literally drop him underneath the DrillMate and drill through from above, or I could put him on top of a sacrificial bit of timber, put him onto there, lift him up a little bit, and then we can drill through here. Drilling in the centre of round timber is very, very tricky to try and find out where your drill should go. In here we have 3 sets of V-grooves. If we just put your timber in here and rest him in there, we'll get nice central holes drilled. I've made a few benches over the years, and one of the most difficult things to do is to drill the dog holes nice and upright in both directions. Trying to hold your drill and get it this direction's tricky enough. Trying to see the other way is very, very difficult. What I'd use for this is one of these hex mounted drill bits. We can put this one in the DrillMate. So we could use him either trying to use the centre lines that are already marked on here and just come along and do our drilling nice and upright and bring him along again. But what I would probably do is mount this onto a board. So I've got a bit of a board, I'd securely put a back fence on there. I would mount up my drill press. I would screw him down to my baseboard. I would drill a hole through here, larger diameter, probably with a hole saw. And then what we could do is mark a centre line, have a centre line marked on your tabletop, and basically come along and drill the hole, bring him along, 100mm centre, bring him along, and just keep drilling all the way along your bench top. If you're going to do a lot of drilling and use this more like a drill press, what you might want to do is mount it up onto more of a baseboard. So I've got this baseboard over here. I've marked out 4 positions for where the screw holes are going to go. Let me just get some centre dots on here with our AUK centre punch. I'll put the DrillMate on here and I can actually use him for drilling down to make my holes nice and upright. Drilling into tiles is always tricky because the drill just wants to skid off all over the place. If we use the DrillMate, we've got the pads on the bottom to stop it from skidding. We can set ourselves up and then we can actually drill and hold ourselves nice and square into what we're trying to drill. Also, it can be used obviously upside down if you were trying to drill into a ceiling or underneath a cupboard or something nice and square. It's going to be easy for doing that kind of work as well. So you could either leave your DrillMate permanently set up, either with or without a base. You could take the drill off, dismantle it and put it back in the box. Or for me, the best thing to do is just put it up on the shelf and it's ready for another day. If you're interested in the DrillMate or any of our other Milescraft products, check us out at woodworkersworkshop.co.uk. Look at us on Facebook, Instagram and our YouTube channel for all of our videos.